Okay, so I will share this link to watch this video again. And in this video, it has been explained different methods to separate the mixtures. So one by one, I am going to now talk about how can we separate the mixture by using the different methods. So here, the first example is, let's suppose if the mixture is containing only the solid. So there are different combinations of the solid. So mixture of solid, how can we separate? And these are the your daily life method you will be using at home to separate the solids into its component. The first one is the hand picking, and the example is if it is you want to separate the stones from the rice. So this is the physical method. You can use your hand to pick out the stones from the rice. So this is the one of the method, because here the both the particle size of the both stone and the rice are visible, and you can easily pick up the what is your desire to separate from this mixture. So this mixture is the stone and the rice. Another one is the method is the sieving, like you are going to separate the gram from the wheat flour. And here, when the particle size of the components are different, because this is much small and this is having much more size, so it is better to use the sieving. And sieving you can also use at home to separate the grams from the wheat flour. The third one is the magnetic separating, and when the sizes of the constituent particles are different. And one of the example is the iron and sand. If these two are mixed to each other, and this is called the mixture of solids. And magnetic separating is this you can also use at home, because the magnet may only attract the iron, and this is not going to interact with the sand or the other particles or the metals are present, because this is only specific for the iron. So if the mixture is containing with the iron and the sand, you can easily separate by using the magnet. A magnet can pick up the iron out of the sand, and two mixtures you can separate by using this simple technique. The fourth one is the sublimation, and here sublimation is particularly for when one of the constituent substance sublimes on heating. And sublimation I have already taught to you in the previous lecture. This is the direct conversion of from solid to the gaseous phase. So the process is called the sublimation. Here one example is the iodine and the sand. Another example is the ammonium chloride and the table salt you are using at home. And this process you can use when you heat up at the specific temperature of iodine or ammonium chloride. So this is going to evaporate directly from the solid phase and convert it into the gaseous phase. And when it is going to convert into the gaseous phase, you can cool down on collect in a separate flask, and this process is called the sublimation. So these are the method to be used for the separation of the solid mixtures. Now moving to the second example, and if your mixture is containing solid and the liquid, so these are also the physical methods you can use uh, how to separate them. The first one is the sedimentation. This you can also use at home if your water is with dirt, with sand, and like the other pollutant. You can keep it for a longer period of time, and then the heavier one are going to settle down, and this process is called the sedimentation. So that means it is particularly when the mixture is heterogeneous and the soil constituent and the solid constituent is heavy. And if it is not heavy, you cannot use the sedimentation. So the particle should be bigger in size, and it must be like a water, dirt, and the muddy water, and you can just keep them for a longer period. These are settled down, and this process is called the sedimentation. And after settling down, you can separate, and this is called the separation of the mixture. Second one in this case is the evaporation, and when solid present in the liquid is non-volatile. So the example is non-volatile mean it is not going to, one of the is not going to evaporate, other one is going to evaporate. So the common salt and the water, and in this case water will evaporate and it will remain, salt will remain inside your flask. And this you can also use at home. You can take the mixture of salt and water and keep it boiling on the oven, and after time all water will evaporate and rest you can find the salt inside your bowl. So this is process is called the evaporation. Other one is the distillation, as explained in the video. Distillation is similar to this one. This is the evaporation followed by the condensation. This is only the evaporation. That means you can evaporate the water and rest you can find the salt. And here you can separate the both. And because here this is also the evaporation, when you evaporate the water, and by using the condensation you can further condense and convert the steam into the liquid, and this is called the distillation. So in this case, you can separately separate the both of the constituent component present in the mixture, and this is the homogeneous mixture, or maybe applicable to the heterogeneous mixture. And this one is the sanctification, and sedimentation is in a similar way it is going to act is the sedimentation, because in sedimentation you can keep at the normal condition, and here we are going to apply a force. We use the machine which can forcibly settle down the particles at the bottom, and when these are settled down you can separate the both of the mixtures, and this is the homogeneous mixture, and one of the constituent is heavy. That's why you can settle down in by using the centrifugation. An example is the separate the cream from the milk, because in the same the dairy farms they are using this technique to um, separate the cream from the milk, and then they can actually form the butter and the other food materials out of this cream. The This is also you have actually listened in the video. This is a simple filtration process, and the example is, let's suppose the common salt and the sand. You want to separate all these two components, and this is happening when uh, one of the component dissolve in the solvent, as the common salt or the table salt is dissolved in water, and if it is mixed with the sand, this is the mixture of the water, sand, and the salt. So with the filtration just letting the salt or the solution coming out of the filter, you can say this is the simple uh, paper with specific pores, and when you insert the mixtures in the filter paper, only the filter paper is just letting the solution to pass through the filter paper, and the sand is keeping uh, on the filter. So in this way you can also separate the solution out of the sand. This is the chromatography, and in a separate lecture I will be explaining more about this one, because this is a little bit longer way, and you can use the separate the homogeneous mixture, like it is the ink composed of different colors like red, blue, or green, and you can use this technique to separate the ink into its constituent components. The last one is the separating of the components of the liquid mixtures. And the first one is you can use the separating funnel as explained in the video. You can use if there are two components are present, one is the oil and other one is the water. You just put in the funnel, and there is the, if the denser will be layer will be below and the lighter layer will be above, like this is the water and this is the oil, and then you can use this stopcock to flow the this phase out of the funnel, and you can separate first one phase and then the second phase. This is the simple distillation as explained before. The simple distillation is you can use for the separation of the liquid mixtures, and when liquids are miscible. Miscible mean when they are mixed together and you are unable to differentiate which one is the specific phase. Like maybe the one of the case is the water and the acetone, but here you can see the difference between the two phases, because one is water is heavier and acetone is the lighter, and they are miscible to each other, but the boiling point of these two components are different, and by using the distillation, the first acetone is going to boil, and you can use this the similar apparatus. When acetone is boiled, you can collect in a beaker, and rest you can find out the water will be here. So two components are separated by using the simple distillation. So other one is the fractional distillation. When your components are multiple, it is complex of this distillation. Actually, fractional distillation is the distillation by parts. So if there are more than components are present, more than two components are present, like the different gases component or separation of the petroleum products, because there are a lot of organic molecules, so you can use the fractional distillation, and by using this one, with the different in temperature, different compounds are boiled, and they simultaneously you can get by using the fractional distillation. So this is all about. I just stop and take your questions over here. This is the assignment, and this assignment for all your all of you, even with the odd or even roll number, or for the student who are already online before the start of this semester. So actually I will give you in the next week, because in this week the assignment is already due. So these are very simple. The in the first question, you have to just to write down the methods used for the separation of the mixture components, as I have explained in three different slides. And the second one is the explain the technique used for the separation of mixtures using separatory funnel and the simple distillation. This has been explained in the video. I will share you with you, and you can watch, and you can solve this part of the question. So this is all about